Hi there. If you've ever opened Blender and thought, what on earth is going on here? I can't learn this, this is too complicated, you're in the right place. I'm Eddie, I'm a professional 3D designer, and I've put together what's probably one of the most complete step-by-step Blender courses on YouTube. It's over 35 hours long with 70 plus lessons, all designed to take things slowly and clearly and without the confusion. I'm not going to rush you, I'm not going to skip steps, and I'm definitely not going to leave you pausing every 5 seconds thinking, wait, what did he just say? We'll keep things simple, really simple. So if other tutorials have felt too fast or overwhelming, please stick around. We're going to learn Blender together by creating this classic Land Rover and environment. Hello and welcome back to lecture 73, and let's go ahead now and start the interior. I think the best place to start is the seats, so in this lecture let's have a go at doing the seat bases. Let's bring in an image so we've got an idea of what we're going to do. Let's go back to reference images. And there's two types of seats. You get this type with what they call the tombstone back, and you get the square ones, and I'm going to go for the square one, so I'll open this one. If you guys want to model the sort of the tombstone back seats, that's absolutely fine, give it a shot. But for me personally, I'm going to go for these square back ones. But for this lecture, we're going to work on these seat bases first. Now this Land Rover is in really beautiful condition, but I'm sort of building mine to look like it's had quite a good life, or a hard life, and it's got lots of stories to tell. So my seats are going to be well sat on, so there's going to be a few more wrinkles and a few more crushes and damages to them than these ones. But again, that's your preference. If you want your seats to look absolutely brand new, then do it with sort of less wrinkles and creases and stuff, and more flat looking. Alright, so the first thing I think I want to do is hide this door. So let's see if we can find it. And it's their interior at the moment. Let's actually call it something. Let's call it main door skin LH. There we go. And I think what I want to do is actually open up a subfile for door, so we've got all those components grouped. So I'll actually click on body here, and I'll add another subfile. There we go. And where's that one popped up? Body 4, there it is. And I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to delete that and call it door components. Door components, there we go. And I'll grab this one, and I'll type M, and go to body, and go down to door components, and put it in there. There we go. Let's actually compress the tub file now so we can see it there, and we can compress the interior, and we'll actually click on the interior and leave it selected so that everything that we make now will drop into the interior group. Let's turn off door component so we don't see that, so we can see clearly our interior. Okay, let's start off with a cube to do this. So let's press Shift A and mesh, and let's bring in a cube. Let's press 7 on the numpad to get the North Graphic View, hit S and bring this down, and start positioning this as we want it. Let's scale it down a little bit more. And I think that's about right in the Y-axis, but I think it needs to go a little wider in the X. So I'll press SX and bring it out a little bit more to about this. I'm just going to make a copy and bring it over in the X-axis to make sure that we've got these seats about the right size. So I'll press Shift D and X and bring a copy over and see what we got. And yeah, I think that's good. So I'll actually delete that one for now, and we'll work with this one. Let's press 3 on the numpad to get a side view of this, and click this cube and bring it up until there's a slight gap between this piece and this seat. Maybe down a little bit, and that's good. Let's tap into edit mode now and press Z and go to wireframe, press 1, grab these vertices and take them down to create about the right size now for the seat. Grab the back ones now and take those down a little bit to about there like that. Okay, let's tap go back into solid mode now. Tap out of edit mode for a minute and let's go ahead and fix the scale. So Control A and apply rotation and scale. And now let's hit the / key on the numpad to isolate the object because we're kind of done with that now. We've got our scale right, so we don't need to see the rest of the car anymore. Okay, that's cool. Let's tap into edit mode again on this one. Let's type A to grab all, and let's right click and subdivide. And let's up this subdivision quite a lot. Maybe something like, well, let's just go 10. Let's just go 10. Max it out, because we're going to sculpt this, so we need quite a dense mesh on it. Let's press 2 so we can select edges, and hold down Alt and select this edge here. And I think as well, let's hold Shift and Alt now and select this edge, and this edge, and this edge. Once we've got those, let's right click and let's go ahead and dissolve those edges. That's cool. Let's tap out of edit mode and the scale is correct. We've already done that. Let's apply a subdivision surface modifier to this and see what we've got. And that is cool. We will leave the level viewports at 1 because we've already applied quite a dense mesh to it. So we'll keep that at the minimal. Maybe we'll just look at it too, see what it looks like. Let's actually put it at 2. Because I think these seats will be quite a feature of the model, so I think we can accept having quite a dense mesh on this. We'll take that hit. Let's go ahead and apply that. And let's right click on it and let's shade auto smooth and see what we've got. And that's cool. I like that. Okay, let's tap into edit mode on this. And as you can see, we've got quite a dense mesh, but it's actually quite even. We could if we wanted to. In fact, let's do it. Let's hold Alt and just grab some of these. I'll hold Shift and Alt now and just grab maybe a few control loops and we'll take them out of the equation. Maybe those ones there. Yeah, that looks good to me. I don't think I've exactly done even, but that's okay. It'll just reduce some of this mesh in this area. So once I've got those, I'll right click and I'll dissolve those edges just to reduce it. We could actually Control Alt again, grab this one and this one and this one and this one as well. And we'll right click and we'll dissolve those edges just to reduce that mesh slightly. Let's press 3 now and let's select the bottom face, maybe this one. And we'll hold down Control and press plus and just expand on our selection to try and get some of these bottom faces. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's kind of fine. It's not even, but it does the job. Let's press X and let's delete those faces just again to reduce the mesh where we can. Okay, the next thing we need to do is make this thing look more like upholstery and less like a cube. So let's turn on proportional editing. Press 1 so we can select vertices. And let's make this look like it's been sat on a few times. So we'll kind of put a divot in the middle here where a few bottoms have been. Let's grab a vertices, hit G, and let's expand our selection. Expand this ring by just rolling the mouse wheel. And then let's just pull that down ever so slightly. Let's do the same here now. Hit G, and just pull this down. And do one at the front as well. Hit G, and just pull this down. Maybe bring it forward a little bit, just to give it a little bit of irregularity. There we go. That looks like it's been sat on a bit. Let's just grab this one here too, hit G, maybe pull this one down here like this, and maybe this one in the front here, hit G, and pull that down like that. That's cool. That's given a slight pull down on that edge, just to make it look like it's been sat on. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode on this, and let's turn off proportional editing. It is turned off. Let's turn it off in edit mode. There we go. And the next thing I want to do is take this into sculpt mode to actually take this a little bit further. So let's grab it again, and now let's go over here, click on this, and let's go into sculpt mode. Hit T if your brushes aren't showing up, and let's see what we can do with this. I think the first thing I want to do is use this inflate tool, and I want to just round this edge off a little bit more to show that it's actually upholstery. So I'm going to just bring this along like this to just inflate this edge slightly. There we go. And I'll do the same here. And maybe back again, just the one time. There we go, that's cool. Maybe just increase our radius slightly and do the same along here. Do maybe one more on the front now and one more on this side. That's cool. That's given a little bit more shape to this. Let's go over here now to this crease brush and let's have a look at our strength and radius, and I'm going to leave those alone, I think, and I'm just going to apply a few creases to this one. Maybe one here like this, and maybe one here. Just applying a few indications of a little bit of damage to the surface. A seat that's been well sat on. Okay, is that too much? Does that look okay? I think I'm going to back up on that. I'm going to hit Control Z, and I think I've overdone that. So I'm going to reduce the strength and reduce the radius. Actually, I'll keep the strength up a little bit. And now I'll go again. Just put one in like this, maybe. Yeah, that's better. That's more what I wanted to do. And maybe one here like this. And again, from this corner here, bring one across. And maybe just take one straight down here. So put some elements of, put something in there and make it look a bit more realistic. Maybe one here. Am I happy with that? I'm going to actually remove this one, I think. So I'll hit Control Z to take that one out. And yeah, I think I'll go from sort of center this way. How does that look? That looks okay. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Okay, the next one is a really powerful brush called the cloth brush. So we're going to turn that on. And let's reduce this strength a bit here. And this is actually going to make this look like a fabric. And actually increase the strength for a minute to show you what it's capable of. And I'm going to work this over the surface, and you can kind of see what it does. It's a really powerful brush and very impressive. Instantly, that looks like a fabric. But that looks more like a duvet than a Land Rover seat. So I'll press Control Z and I'll delete those. Going to reduce the strength quite a bit, I think. And now I'm going to work this again to actually add some fabric-like to this. There we go, that's cool. That's what I want. Let's add a few more this side now. And I kind of go with a bit of a circular motion. I find that kind of works for me to put in a sort of more organic look. Cloth modifier is great for cushions and anything like that if you're ever working on seats. There we go. And how does that look? Put one on the front edge there, maybe one here. There, oh, that's cool, I like that. And maybe one on this side too. Okay, am I going to do any more to this? Maybe in the center. Because it's, after all, it's the center that would get the most work. So let's actually do something. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Maybe this front edge a little bit. Let's see what we got. Alright, I think that's cool. Have I done too much? Have I done enough? Maybe a little bit in the back edge here. I think I'm going to leave this alone because sculpt mode is something that you can just get carried away and take things too far. Some people might say I've already taken that too far, but that's kind of a bit of, it's subjective, isn't it? Maybe I'll use the smooth brush a little bit now and just try and soften up some of this stuff a bit. See what we get. And there we go. That's really cool. I'm liking that. I'm going to go ahead and tap out of edit mode and call that done. And I'm going to actually now go over to object mode. Let's do another shade auto smooth on this. See what we get. And yeah, that's cool. But you can see these seats have also got a piping detail on them. So the next thing to do is to kind of replicate something like that. But I think what I'm going to do is a full ring of piping on mine rather than just the sides. So let's see if we can tackle that next. And I'll show you a bit of a trick that'll hopefully work. So let's tap back into edit mode and press 2 so we can select edges. Now let's hold down Alt and select an edge or a loop of edges close to the top. So I'm going to choose this one. Once I've done that, I'll press Shift D and Z, and I'll bring this up out of the way. Now I'll press P, and I'll separate by selection. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode on this, grab this piece, and what I want to do is convert it to a curve. So let's right click and convert to a curve, but it won't let me. It won't let me convert to a curve, and I knew this, I just wanted to show you. But there's a trick. If we actually double click on this and then rename it curve, well, you can actually rename it anything, but just rename it. And now right click and convert to a curve and it'll let you. There we go. Now we can go down to object data properties and we can take a look at this. We can reduce the resolution a few to maybe 8. And we can go here to depth and we can increase this. And I think what we'll do is add a 0 here. Enter. And maybe turn this one into a 5 and see how that looks. Is that too much? Let's actually take it down and position it on the seat and see what we got. And yeah, that's too big. Let's turn that into a 2 and see how that looks. And how's that? And that looks really cool. Yeah, that looks really, really, really. Maybe let's try a 3. Enter. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's look at our resolution. Let's turn that up to 5. And on our radius, we'll move it to a 6. Cool. Let's grab this object and let's shade auto smooth. And see how that looks. And that looks super cool. The next thing to do is actually grab this thing, right click, and let's convert back to a mesh now that we've done the hard work. Grab this little thing, grab the seat base, press Ctrl J, and join them together. Cool, that looks fantastic. Let's press the / key now on the numpad to bring everything back. Let's grab this object, let's press 7 on the numpad, and let's press Shift D, press X, and bring a copy over in the X axis to something like that. That's cool. The only issue that I have is they're identical, and of course they wouldn't be. So I want to change this one slightly and then make a copy and put it to here to the opposite side because they're not next to each other, they probably won't be so obvious they're identical. So let's tap into sculpt mode with this one and just make a few little changes. So I'll actually just go into the crease mode and have a look at the strength and the radius. I'm happy with that. And maybe just put in a little few changes just to try and make it look different to the other one. Maybe something in the back here. And maybe one here. And maybe one across the middle. And there we go. That's enough. That's enough just to make it look slightly different. So I'll tap out of sculpt mode now, back into object mode. Let's press 7 again. And we'll press Shift D and X and bring that over to the opposite side. And there we go. There's our suit bases, and they look really cool. I'm happy with those. They do look well sat on, but that was kind of always the objective. All right, thanks very much, everybody, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye-bye for now. So I just want to take a sec to talk about my website. If you're enjoying this tutorial and you like my take it steady, keep it simple approach, then why not head over to my website. There you can explore a range of courses I've created, including architectural visualizations and animation courses for Blender, or interior design courses learning to make photorealistic renders and animations specifically for Blender. If you're interested in learning AutoCAD, the most popular 2D design software in the industry, I've got you covered with a comprehensive course on that too. Plus, you'll get sneak peeks of upcoming courses so you can stay ahead of the game. To check it out, just click on the link in the description below and don't forget to use the discount code 20OFF to get, you've guessed it, 20% off all my courses. So now, let's get back to the tutorial. Thanks very much. Hello and welcome now to lecture 74. And in this lecture, let's now have a go at doing the seat backs and see what we can do with those. So let's press Shift A and let's bring in a cube. Let's press 7 on the numpad to see this from above. And let's hit S and scale this in until it's about the same width as the seat base. Bring it forward a bit and scale it down the Y until it looks about right. Let's have a look at that. Let's press 3 on the numpad and let's take that up a bit and scale it down the Z. And take that up and scale it down the Z again and take it up a bit. And yeah, that looks about right to me. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Let's tap into edit mode on that now. Let's grab these two vertices here. Press 3 again to see it from the side and pull those back. Whoops, we have proportional editing on. I'll turn that off. And now pull that back to narrow the thickness of seat at the top edge. That's cool. That's what we want. Let's press 3 and then press A to select all faces. Now let's right click and subdivide. And let's increase these subdivisions to around 7, I think. Let's press 2 now. You can select edges. And let's hold down Alt and grab that edge there. Hold Shift and Alt, grab this one, and this one. Let's right click and let's dissolve those edges. And now let's tap out of edit mode. Let's go ahead and fix the scale now. So Control A and rotation and scale. And let's add a subdivision surface modifier. Let's increase that to 2 like we did on the seat bases. And let's just go ahead and accept that. There we go. Let's right click and shade auto smooth and see what we've got. And yeah, that's a start. Okay, let's press 3 again to see it from the side now, and let's rotate it. Hit R and just move that over slightly to get a slight angle on that. And there we go. That's good. Okay, now let's see if we can make it a bit more like an upholstered panel. So let's tap into edit mode on this. And maybe we reduce the mesh here on the edge like we did on the seat base. So let's hold down Alt and make our selection, just maybe that one. Now hold Shift and Alt and move around these and just reduce these a bit. Maybe we take just those. So I'll right click and we'll dissolve those edges. Maybe that middle one there as well. Dissolve that too. There we go, that's fine. Okay, let's press 1 now so we can select vertices, and let's go to 7. And let's turn on proportional editing. And let's select one in the middle somewhere, about there. Hit G, and that actual selection wheel's already pretty big, but I kind of do want that because I want to take the whole of the seat back in the middle in a nice sort of natural curve position. There we go, something like that. And let's see how that looks. And yeah, that's exactly what I want. That's cool. I'm going to tap out of edit mode on that. And I'm going to take this forward a bit now so that the seat doesn't rest too much on the back. That's cool. That's what we want. I don't think I'll do any more with proportional editing, so I'll go ahead and turn that off. Okay, let's take this into sculpt mode next and see what we can do here. I think the first thing I want to do is apply like a bit of extra padding on the back around here. And what could we use? We could actually use the inflate tool. Maybe try doing that. And just increasing this edge along here. To just give it a bit more build on this back edge. Maybe increase the radius a bit. And go again. And there we go. Is that too much? I kind of feel like that's too much. So I'll use this smooth tool now. I just kind of level that across. And that's more like the effect I wanted. Just built up and then sort of caved in the middle area. So maybe you'd have a hard panel inside the seat back and you'd have soft padding sort of tacked to it. And yeah, that's the kind of effect I was looking for. All right, what next? Let's use that crease tool again, and let's apply a couple of creases. So I'll pull in, maybe put a crease here like this. And maybe one on the corner here. Again, I want to put a little bit of damage on this top edge and make this top edge quite unique. And I think the other tool I'm going to try using is this one, this multi-plane scraper. Let's reduce the strength quite a bit. And let's just try it along this edge here and see what we get. There we go. Try and square that edge up a little bit again. And along here too. Okay, the next thing I want to do is try and just build up this area here again. So I think I'll just use this inflate tool just to try and build this back up again here. Try and get something looking better, and that's better. And now maybe here, just soften this off a little bit. Whoops, hit T again. And just soften this out a little bit again to try and do something like that. That's cool. Let's use that crease tool again now and see if we can do some more damage with this top edge. That's cool. That looks quite good. Quite like that. And see if we can do something along this sort of top edge here as well. Maybe put like a groove through it a little bit. There we go, that's cool. Sort of suggests that the padding up there is starting to break down a little bit. And just put a little bit of damage on that top edge. And yeah, I like that. That's kind of what I wanted. And now I'll just use this cloth modifier tool, of course, because this is super cool. I'll keep the strength pretty low and just give it some swirls. And how's that? Yeah, that's looking pretty cool. And yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Whether I've got a little bit too much damage on this top edge, I'm not sure. I think when the bead goes on that, I think that will work out. I like this, what we've done here, sort of built up this back edge. I think that's quite good. Made it a little bit more dimensional on the back edge. And maybe we could actually just try putting a crease somewhere on this back edge here. See what that looks like. And maybe here too. And yeah, I think that's all I want to do to this one. Okay, so I'll just smooth this off a little bit. And leave that out, just like that. This is completely up to you how far or how much you want to take this. And just play around with the sculpt mode tools to get the best results for you. Okay, so the next thing to do is to put that piping detail in again. So now let's go ahead and tap into edit mode and press 2. And let's select a loop. So I'll hold down Alt, and I think I'm going to select that one. So I'll press Shift D and Y and bring that forward and press P to separate by selection. Let's tap out of edit mode now. Grab this one and let's rename it to curve or curb, or whatever you want really. I'll call it curve. There we go. And now let's right click on it again and convert to a curve. Let's go down here to Object Data Properties and reduce our resolution to about 6. And let's go all the way down here now and let's start putting some depth in it. And again, way too much. So let's actually put an extra 0 in there and see what we get. And I think on the last one we did a 3 there. Let's try 3 again. And yeah, I'd say that's about right. Looking at this, it's a little bit notchy. Let's go ahead and do a shade auto smooth on it and see what we get. It's still a little bit notchy. We could try increasing the angle tolerance. And I think in this case, I want to increase the resolution a little bit just to soften this. Because this top edge is going to be seeing quite a lot. So we need to make sure this is nice and not too faceted. And what have we got here? Let's increase this to 8. And yeah, let's go with that. Let's take that back now then until it fits. See where that's right. And there we go. That's that looking good. So let's join those together. Well, actually first, let's convert that back to a mesh. And now let's go ahead and join those together. Control J and join them. There we go. Actually, while we've got it, we could actually call it the seat back. Seat back, there we go. Okay, let's press 7 now. And let's press Shift D and X and take a copy over. And put that in position. Something like that, and see how that looks. And they're gonna look good. They're gonna look good. I like this. I just want to, again, just make this one slightly different. So let's take this back into sculpt mode and see what we can do to sort of change this around a little bit. Okay, so let's start with that crease one again and see what we can do. We've got the radius pretty small. Let's see if we can put some changes to this edge here maybe. Now we're losing this piping detail, and I'm not going to worry about it. I think I'll make a new one after. So let's just go ahead and do what we're going to do and not worry about that. Let's put one in here. Maybe one here. To try and just make this look slightly different. And I want to apply a little bit of damage to this outside edge. Maybe try that scrape. I'm going to try this multi-plane scrape one again. That one was pretty cool. And just try and make it different to the other one. Increase the strength maybe. And see what we've got there. Let's try the elastic deform, increase the radius quite a lot, and maybe just pull this edge in to try and make it look different. There we go, that's cool. Maybe just pull that edge in there a bit to try and change it around, and that's good. And let's use the cloth modifier. And let's reduce the radius now and just see if we want to do something to this. There we go, that's enough. That's plenty, I think. Let's go ahead now and go back into object mode with this and see what we got. Is that too much damage? I kind of feel I just want to smooth that out, so I'm going to go back in again. And sculpt mode is very much an experimental mode. You just need to play around with things and look at it and do a little more until you're happy with the result. Don't be scared of playing around with this. So I'm just going to soften off some of this a little bit, because maybe I took it a bit too far. Definitely that top edge there. And there we go. Maybe some of this. And as long as they look different, which I think they do, we can be happy. Okay, let's actually go back to that elastic deformer, quite like that. Increase the radius again and just pull this in a little bit here. Sort of indicate that maybe a load has been laid across this seat from the tub. There we go, that's cool. That's good. Or is that too much? Maybe I'll take that back a little bit. And take it back to pretty much the way it was before. But that's alright. It's just like I said, it's just playing around until you get the result you want. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to stop myself right there and leave that alone. Next thing to do is tap into edit mode and make sure we've got faces selected. Grab a face on this piping, hold down Control and hold down plus until all the faces on that piping have been selected. Press X and delete those faces. Okay, let's press 2 now and let's choose a loop. So I'll hold Alt. Go for about there. I'll press Shift D and Y, bring a copy out, press P and separate by selection and tap out of edit mode. Let's grab this one now. And let's see what we've got here. Again, we need to convert to a mesh, and we might be able to just do it this time. So yep, convert to a curve, I'm sorry. So we've done that. And now let's increase this. Add that 0. And turn that 1 into a 3. And there we go, that's cool. Let's take that back and put it in position. Is that right position? Do we want to go back a little bit more? And that's cool right there, just like that. Let's shade auto smooth on that and see what we get. And yep, let's leave that just like that. So let's convert that back to a mesh. Sorry, let's convert that back to a mesh. And now let's join that to the seat. So press Ctrl J. And now let's go ahead and shade auto smooth one more time to sort out any last little issues. There we go. That's cool. Let's actually press 7 on the numpad now to see this from above. And let's press Shift D in the X and bring that copy over to the opposite side. Alright, that's cool. I think I'm happy with that. I can always at a later date if I want to, maybe just tweak this seat around a little bit more. And I may do that on my own. Just tweak this edge here and maybe just push that one back in. But for the purposes of this lecture, I think I'm happy with that. Alright, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you want to see more tutorials just like this, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you can get notified when new content drops. You can also check out my channel for more episodes of this series, or you can head over to my website to explore my full range of courses. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.